Kayla is a Year 7 student who is physically more mature than her peers. She excels in sports and visual arts at school. She liked maths and science, but now often complains of forgetting class content and not being able to keep up. Some students have said that she can be withdrawn and doesn't share personal information. Other staff members have mentioned that she sometimes doesn't show up for class. You notice that she has difficulties with peers of her own age and hangs around with older students who have been previously reprimanded for using illicit drugs. She has a supportive home environment, however her parents have very limited English language skills and are struggling financially. She has said to you that she actually wants to do well at school and hopefully do visual arts at university, but just needs more help. Early maturing girls are at a risk of a variety of problems, including depression, negative body image, eating disorders, substance abuse, and delinquency. According to genotype environment interactions theory, these might be brought about by conflict between genotype and environmental effects, passive, evocative, active, such as concerns regarding physical and sexual attractiveness to others. Early maturation typically results in a shorter and heavier appearance, and it is ultimately a disadvantage in cultures like those of the West, which place such a high value on thinness. Because they look older than their peers, they tend to attract attention from older boys, who then introduce them to active, evocative, and passive activities. Researchers have speculated that the sexual pressure early maturing girls experience from older boys may be partly responsible for the high levels of depression and anxiety they report. Girls who perceive themselves as early maturers are more likely than other girls to see themselves as ready to engage in smoking, drinking, and alcohol use, and this perception is more important than their actual pubertal timing in predicting their participation in these behaviours. Thompson has suggested that body image concerns are driven by social cultural understandings of behaviour. Struglemore and Catchland write that the combination of the cultural prescript for girls to care about others' opinions and to define themselves through their physical appearance, and the particular beauty ideal of extreme thinness creates a powerful motivational force for girls to pursue thinness. This propelling force usually leads to views of being overweight despite the fact that one's weight is within normal standards. Studies show that dissatisfaction with body image is associated with high levels of depression and low self-esteem.
The following strategies can be implemented over a series of lessons to address Kayla's trouble with her early physical development and are applicable to all adolescent schoolgirls. One intervention has the teacher explain the effects of puberty to Kayla's class in a lesson. He or she should make sure that they understand that weight gain is a normal part of her development, especially during puberty. The explanation should use these diagrams to offer reassurance that healthy body shapes vary. Such face-to-face teaching is advantageous for it adds a personal element to education, as richness of information and memorable, inspiring experiences are made through behavior and body language modeling. It also offers the chance to ask questions. It is disadvantageous because students are rendered mechanical, passive learners. That is, they do what their teacher tells them to do, which causes their knowledge to be strongly dependent on the specific teacher-student relationship they have. Another strategy is to have the teachers ask the class to list examples of media, such as TV programs, movies, music, videos, websites, that might send the message that only a certain body type is acceptable. Maintaining an attractive appearance is the most important goal. He or she should encourage the class to question what they see and hear. The teacher could then get the class to write down a list of non-physical qualities that they like about themselves and about each other. This intervention is advantageous because such written messages of acceptance and respect can help build self-esteem and resilience through self-management. It is disadvantageous for learners who are struggling with issues on procrastination, ideation, and time management.
Some of the social and emotional developmental issues affecting Kayla identified through the vignette include she's become socially withdrawn from peers within her own age group, keeping information about her personal life to herself. It has been observed that she has been having difficulties with peers her own age. She has also started spending time with older peers who have had a history of taking illicit drugs. The biopsychosocial approach can be used to assess the factors which interact to influence risk and resilience in adolescence. Kayla's developmental issues with identity, along with a social deficit with peers her own age, are related to the psychological and social factors of the approach. During adolescence, close friends and peers become hugely significant. Peers are groups who have certain aspects in common. Friends may be one's peers but aren't exclusively so. Friends develop personal or otherwise intimate social connections with one another. Berndt asserts the importance of having close, high-quality friendships and their role in increasing success in the social life of an individual. Adolescents are also more likely to disclose personal information to their friends than others in their life. Kayla has started hanging out with older peers. One of the key reasons friendships form is similarity, and for Kayla it could be the older students' attitudes towards school. It is also within the friendship groups that an adolescent can be subject to peer pressure. For example, if an adolescent female has passed a joint, it can be assumed the company she is with are friends rather than peers. Research has shown the influence of negative company on risk factors including drug use, alcohol, and delinquency. Kayla's lack of communication with peers her own age could be a coping strategy. As research has shown, some individuals shy away from peer group entry as it causes them stress and anxiety. Her social skills, however, may be why she is experiencing issues with peers. Social skills play an important role in determining whether an individual is popular or unpopular. People who are well regarded tend to be friendly and eager to participate in class, the diametric opposite of those considered unpopular. Research has distinguished between two types of unpopularity: rejected adolescents and neglected adolescents. Kayla could be considered a neglected adolescent among peers her own age as she is socially withdrawn, but apparently has not displayed signs of aggression or being quarrelsome. The key to assisting Kayla with building pathways to success through adolescence is through the use of a variety of supportive intervention programs, SIPs, which act to decrease risk factors in her life and increase protective factors. SIPs should enhance Kayla's sense of identity and self-worth. Kayla's teachers can play a part in intervention by promoting resilience and encouraging and talking her through coping strategies. Resilience can be promoted in the classroom through the teacher taking genuine interest and providing her with praise and constructive feedback. Effective coping strategies include encouraging Kayla to stay optimistic about her studies and seek professional support where necessary. As a teacher, the GRIP principle can be applied for a troubled student like Kayla. Gather information such as warning signs and risk factors. Respond, talk and listen to the young person, showing empathy, but don't take on a counsellor role. Involve others, referring them to a counsellor when and where necessary. Promote a positive school environment of tolerance, feedback and effective teaching style. Coordinated therapy programs with a trained school professional are another form of intervention. The school counsellor can talk Kayla through potential problems and challenges she is facing at school. Moreover, as House and Martin suggest, school counsellors are assertive advocates who create opportunities for all students to define and achieve their goals and aspirations. An inhibiting factor and a disadvantage of this strategy is the stigma often attached to this type of intervention. As research has suggested, counselling is often described as potentially difficult, embarrassing, and an overall risky enterprise. The quality of a school's culture plays an important role in engaging students, particularly those in need of social and emotional support. Research has shown the importance of a supportive school culture in fostering connections with school, parents, and the community. Exactly how schools go about creating that kind of environment remains a challenge. Although there are no hard and fast rules or formulas for creating and establishing quality cultures, research has shown there are factors that schools point to that have improved effectiveness, including commitment to success for all, encouraging student responsibility and autonomy, focusing on continuous improvement, and fostering a climate of challenging and stimulating teaching, ensuring that programs engage learners.
Hi, my name is Richard. My studies in adolescent development theory, research and practice has made me mindful and prepared for the interconnected biological psychosocial changes of secondary students in my teaching of mathematics. In adolescence, memory and fluid intelligence peaks and the ability to acquire new skills is high. So I will provide students with the time and opportunity to automate schemas like basic mathematical axioms before moving on to high cognitive load material like building theories or constructing mathematical proofs. Piaget's formal operational stage has that students at this age are wired to develop their abstract and idealistic thinking. In that light, I want to challenge them in their learning of mathematics by exposing them to as many logical and creative problem-solving learning experiences as possible. To support students' well-being and safety, I will use PERMA by believing in their abilities, employing positive and caring communication, giving praise and constructive feedback, and promoting a culture of achievement. I understand that adolescents lack impulse control in social settings and are more prone to new sensory stimuli. So I will use multimedia for their engagement. I will establish clear and consistent guidelines for these kind of behavior issues outside of class. And since their cognitive control system has not fully matured, I will avoid getting my students to attempt problems in front of the class or open each other to peer evaluation in lessons. Lastly, I believe I have moved from tolerance to sensitivity about their development and from rhetoric to practice on positive education. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Wesley Kington, and this is my personal reflection for the unit Adolescent Development and Teaching. By studying, I've learned about the concepts relevant to adolescence as a field of scholarship and developed an awareness of the biopsychosocial approach to adolescent development. An adolescent's brain is subject to synaptogenesis, myelinization, and synaptic pruning. These changes affect the prefrontal cortex associated with hot and cold cognition. Hot cognition is thought to be associated with motivated reasoning, cold cognition associated with rational reasoning. In adolescence, research has shown hot cognition takes longer to develop than cold cognition, making adolescents especially vulnerable to risk-taking and less prone to self-regulation. The physical changes taking place throughout adolescence can affect the adolescent in a sociological context. Females can often experience self-esteem issues, including depression, negative body image, and delinquency. Males can become involved in substance abuse, delinquency, and other forms of risky behaviour. Understanding the correlation between physiological changes and the way adolescents behave, cope, or otherwise inform the way I, as a future teacher, would relate to and develop strategies to support the well-being and safety of students. These include being observant and being able to identify risk factors in each student, providing one-on-one support, and referring an adolescent to a school counsellor if necessary. This can also mean increasing protective factors around them through a positive learning environment, planning engaging and effective lessons, and a consistent pedagogical approach. Critical to pedagogy is understanding adolescents' cognitive development, or how they understand new concepts, remember schemas, and direct their attention. Genetic epistemology suggests juveniles of different ages think differently, and these changes in cognitive development proceed in distinct stages. Adolescents should be at stage 4, or formal operational, rendering them capable of abstract thinking and hypothetical deductive reasoning. This theory would inform the type of classroom activities I would incorporate into lessons plans as an English and society and culture teacher. This would include having students critically analyse and discuss ideas and viewpoints about events, issues, and characters represented in different media from different historical, social, and cultural contexts. Social cultural theory argues that rather than there being stages, learning is a social process. Adolescents learn through interacting with the world around them and need assistance to negotiate the zone of proximal development. In order to aid their students' learning, a teacher should always incorporate scaffolding tasks into their lessons. I consider socio-cultural theory to be applicable to pedagogy as an English teacher. For example, if my lesson plan objective was to have students understand abstract themes in George Orwell's 1984, scaffolding would be to first have them read the novel and then have them compare 1984 society to Australian democracy in classroom discussion. After, they would be introduced to concepts such as totalitarianism, dystopia, and Big Brother, together with a handout containing a glossary of key terms. Also informing my future teaching approach are memory capacity, schemas, attention, and cognitive load. As a teacher, it is important to keep mindful of the limitations of working memory and to provide students with time and opportunity to learn about new concepts. Further, to achieve effective pedagogy, a teacher should aim to minimise extraneous load bearing, remove redundant material, and try to incorporate group work when teaching material for peer support in the zone of proximal development. Thank you very much.